May of 2011, the world's leaders came together under the G8 to define digital economy, and the result was clear.
Welcome to Paris, known as the City of Lights thanks to the invention of electricity. In the dawn of the 20th century, electricity was a tremendous revolution. It changed the way people worked, the way people communicated, the way people were entertained. It even changed the urban landscape, allowing us to build at greater heights. This revolution took 50 years to happen. And right now, another revolution is underway, the Internet revolution. Less than 20 years ago, the Internet started changing our lives. Today, there are It started changing the way we work. Changing the way we communicate. Changing the way we are entertained. It even changed our social landscape, making our world flatter. Internet has changed everything, and the best is to come. We know it's big, and yet, do we know its impact on the economy? Do we know its contribution to growth and wealth? Do we know how it benefits consumers, companies, and governments? Do we know how countries are capturing value from it? Actually, no.
The search is still on. For how can the digital economy achieve real growth? What are the digital tools we need to connect our economies and make them stronger? We must learn from history, while leveraging 21st century tools to secure prosperity in our present time and for generations to come. History reveals to us that in 1956, the world witnessed the birth of the marine container. This simple idea has revolutionized global trade, making it more efficient, thus reducing its cost dramatically. Among other benefits, it reduced loading costs from $5.86 per ton to 16 cents, a 36-fold savings. Widespread use of marine containers has contributed to major trade growth, underwriting job creation, and driving decades of real growth worldwide.
Be stubborn until price comes along, then they're the most cooperative people in the world. Got a better price.
The formula that we can learn from history is clear. By increasing efficiency, we can reduce our costs, resulting in real economic growth. The question remains, how can we better connect our economies and reduce our costs with 21st century tools? We have combined 6 main elements that world-renowned organizations have identified as the key elements to reducing the cost of the real economy. First, integration is the ability to connect all participants involved in the real economy in a seamless, dynamic information-sharing environment. World economic leaders have long recognized the importance of integration as a foundation to sustain economic growth. Second, processes, as confirmed by the world experts, is generally defined as the blueprint for how to maximize the use of available tools and manpower to achieve a desired output in a specific environment. Third, e-documentation is the creation, storage, and transmittal of necessary data related to trade in purely electronic form. The migration from paper to paperless documentation processes has been universally recognized as being vital to the real economy efficiency. Fourth, tracking and visibility, is the ability to obtain real-time information regarding merchandise location and movements. Tracking mainly refers to goods in transit, and visibility mainly refers to idle goods at a specific location. Global experts agree on the vital role of tracking and visibility in the real economy. Fifth, competence, is when a defined obligation is met on time, with optimal quality and at minimum cost. The world's experts agree that the efficiency of the real economy is not just about how much money is invested and what expensive tools are used. It's about the people performing their tasks with the proper tools in a synchronized and monitored environment. Sixth, cargo security is defined as the establishment and uniform practice of policies and procedures that secure the flow of commerce against acts of terrorism. Governments around the world consider cargo security to be of vital importance in their efforts to protect their citizens, borders, and economies.
If a cargo container explodes because of a bomb, in addition to the immediate damages and costs like the cost of human life, material costs, and property, the whole trade lane will be shut down. And then the damages to the economy will be massive because inventories would pile up, the ports would choke up, investments will be lost, and even trade agreements would be jeopardized. And finally, reopening the trade lane would be very risky if there has been no changes or improvements made.
The mission is clear. We must optimize the efficiency of these 6 elements in order to reduce our real economy costs. An essential starting point in creating prosperity tomorrow lies in understanding our efficiency level today. To meet the 21st century efficiency requirement, best in class cannot be the only standard used to measure the efficiency levels of these critical elements. Until today, the dependency on best in class has kept us locked firmly inside the box. We must look outside of the box in every aspect and strive toward achieving the peak performance that today's technology makes possible.
Essentially, best in class meaning knowing where we stand today, where we stand against the situation as of now. And that's very important. However, I think we need to do more. We can go beyond the now. We can really use technology to lead us to explore opportunities that are not available today and really open up opportunities that will be here with us tomorrow.
This new benchmark is the 21st Century 6-Element Trade Efficiency Indicators, or the 21/6 ETI, that signifies the new millennium standard for growth. The real economy depends upon 4 interdependent industries: commerce, finance, insurance, and logistics. The weakest of these is logistics, which is highly fragmented. Issues facing logistics prevent the other 3 industries from performing at optimal levels. Enhancing the efficiency of the 21/6 ETI will enable peak logistics performance, which in turn will reduce our costs and generate, for the first time in history, the ultimate data quality required to boost the performance of the other 3 industries, thus reaching their full potential, resulting in real economic growth. The ultimate data quality is the quantum leap in the world of information technology that we have been waiting for, thus setting the foundation to empower the digital economy that the world's citizens demand. The question remains, who can we trust to deliver the digital economy platform, delivering the tools desperately needed by the real economic participants worldwide? One thing we are sure of: we cannot trust one company, one country, or one region. We can only trust all of them. Therefore, the best minds of the world, competing against each other in the marketplace, have now unprecedentedly agreed to come together under one roof, protected by the international community, to work collectively and provide the urgently needed digital economy at no cost to the end user. History has shown us the way, and today's 21st century technology is available to connect our economies for a better tomorrow. G20 nations. As the world is still defining what the digital economy is, G20 nations have started the journey toward achieving peak performance in trade efficiency.
Nielsen has surveyed small, medium and large industry participants from the 19 clusters across all economic zones, including customs, checkpoints, banks, insurance firms, logistics service providers, buyers and sellers. We performed 10 times more interviews than the average number performed by any logistics performance indices. We have conducted these interviews face-to-face and reviewed all interviews through a rigorous quality assurance process. The trade efficiency assessment results have been reviewed by the New Millennium Standard for Growth team, consisting of both public and private sector organisations. The result, a comprehensive assessment that provides the roadmap to vastly increase its trade efficiency and to achieve real economic growth.
Under the 21.6 ETI standard, the G20 nations integration scored 1.46. This signifies the importance of increasing the levels of horizontal integration across G20 nations' 19 trade clusters. This will further leverage G20 nations' ongoing significant investment in several initiatives, such as their national single windows to facilitate trade, thereby improving collaboration among their trade pipeline participants and their trade partners globally. The processes score of 2.15 presents the opportunity for improvement to reach 21.6 ETI standard. The use of technology to implement more efficient processes across all jurisdictions in G20 countries' trade pipelines will contribute towards minimizing unnecessary shipment delays, lowering wait times at points of entry, and reducing excess domestic and international trade costs. The G20 nations tracking and visibility score of 1.88 reflects the level of real-time information concerning a shipment's location and movements. The continued evolution from national single windows to a global single window facilitates online third-party data submission by trade participants, coupled with improved shipment visibility within the trade pipelines, can further enhance planning capabilities of the G20 businesses by improving predictability of shipment deliveries, realizing just-in-time inventory levels and decreasing overall operational costs. The e-documentation score of 1.94 represents an opportunity to increase electronic transfer of shipment data among trade participants across the G20 nations. By increasing the use of electronic documentation and evolving towards a global single window, trade participants will reduce the level of manual data entry throughout trade activities, thereby minimizing human error as well as the frequency of incomplete or missing documentation. This will facilitate advanced customs clearance, thus reducing shipment delays. The competence score of 1.68 indicates that there are gains to be achieved in terms of trade participants' performance in the G20 nations. When properly trained using systems that dynamically monitor trade performance based on contractual obligations, G20 nations' trade workforce can provide G20 businesses a competitive advantage in both their national and global markets. G20 nations' relatively moderate cargo security score of 2.18 reflects the leadership role of G20 nations' customs in implementing efficient practices through the use of technology to secure the country's borders and flow of commerce. However, the lack of integration across the 19 clusters inhibits G20 nations' customs from receiving real-time and validated shipment information, globally necessary to anticipate and stop security threats before they reach their country's borders. We must remember that the 21.6 ETI measures all key areas against the peak performance levels that today's technology makes possible. By understanding the levels of performance that each area must reach and applying the right technological tools to reach them, we marshal a new economic era, the era of the digital economy. Once these levels reach scores between 4.5 and 5, the G20 nations will reduce their landed import and export cost from today's average of 11.4 to 6%, saving about $3.7 trillion annually by 2030. This is only the first step in establishing a solid foundation to boost trade and create jobs throughout the G20 nations, with a trade increase of $7.7 trillion as well as generating millions of new jobs. The G20 nations have taken the lead in maximizing the new millennium standard for growth, placing themselves at the forefront of a cutting-edge trade innovation.